Hello, Hippie Homework. This week in the newsletter we discussed stories and what are the stories that are running us on a day-to-day basis. And we do it all day, every day. And our stories have come from our childhood, our experiences that make us believe that certain things are going on when perhaps they're not going on. Or that we need to do certain things because of certain expectations set up in the past. And so this week I want us to really have a look at all the stories that are running us. And if you break it down, we do it so much. Every day there's a story we're telling ourselves. Something like, if I don't do it, it won't get done. Or unless I do it, it won't get done properly. Other ones I have running in my head is watching the behaviour of my little boy and thinking he's doing this to deliberately be naughty, but he's not. He's exploring things, he doesn't understand things. Sometimes he could be getting attention, but he's not deliberately setting out to be naughty. And in my newsletter I discussed a situation of thinking that somebody was just plain ignoring me because I'd made a request and they hadn't taken that request on board. Quite often we have stories in our head when we're going to visit a particular person, your mum's quite often, where you have an expectation of how they might react to something, or your spouse, how are they going to react to something. So, can I bring this really expensive crystal into the house? Are they going to complain about how much money I spend? If I tell my mum I did this, what are they going to say about it? Does it align with what their needs are? And it's interesting, I was listening to a podcast today on self-hate, and it was discussing how we run certain stories in our head in order to be able to be accepted by other people. And that's what we're doing all the time. We're wanting to be accepted, and that's why we run our stories. Or we have a need to control and have certainty in our lives, and therefore we run certain stories. Very common in the workplace. You might even sort of think, wow, my boss doesn't like me, or my boss doesn't think I'm good enough at my job, or my boss doesn't notice me. It could be anything. What are the stories in your head and how are they impacting your life? Because here's the thing about stories. If you stay in your story, then your story perpetuates and it keeps going and going and going, and certain behaviours that come out of that don't change. So if you have a funny relationship with your mum where she's driving you nuts because you're running in the story that you've always had, then someone has to break out of the story in order to create something new. You have to break out of your story to have a better work situation. This is what we do in healing. We break the stories and we think about things in different ways. So have a think today and the next week of what are the stories running in your head? What can you do to change them? You might not stop the story, but you can short circuit it. You can perhaps go, oh, look at this. This is what I'm doing. This is what I always do. I don't want to do this anymore. Let's try something different. And that something different may or may not work, but it'll give you a chance to say, well, that didn't work. I'll try something else. And somewhere along the lines, you will get something that does work and creates a new situation for you that makes it better. So have a great week. You'll be really scared and shocked, I think, by how much your brain does drive you in stories. I'm just sitting here watching it this morning going, oh my goodness, all these things going on in my brain. Got to short circuit it. So have a good week and I'll see you next week. Bye.